Hong Kong Direct is your weekly racing roundup full of news, views, interviews, previews and special guests. And as we're just over 2 weeks away from the big day, HKIR, coming up on the show today, the final pieces of the local jigsaw fell into place with Jockey Club Day on Sunday. We'll look back on those 3 Group 2 wins and the countdown is well and truly on to the big day itself. Who's coming? Who's not? Japanese sending a big contingent once more, and there's one horse in particular is working on his Hong Kong residency as we speak. Very warm welcome to the show. I'm Angela Shern. Pleased to say I'm joined this week by Bill Nader, who's Director of Racing and Big Business Operations here at the Hong Kong Jockey Club. Bill, and I know you've taken a very hands-on role with the international horses coming over this year, and given the circumstances, everyone must be delighted with the lineup.
I think we have to be. I mean, it's been a very challenging year, as we all know, due to the pandemic. But, you know, for the horses, it's business as usual. You know, get on the airplane and go straight into quarantine. But for the people, it's much different. And so when you look at the result and the participation that we have from overseas, it's been very gratifying. And I think a lot of it has to do with the reputation of the Jockey Club and this big Hong Kong International Race Day, which is one of the great racing occasions in the world. The prize money is very good and it's intact. A lot of the big race meetings this year, the prize money has been greatly reduced. That hasn't been the case here. And then we've had cooperation from the government, which has helped through the racing bubble exemption, which has really helped pave the way for the people to get here and not be too obtrusive in terms of their calendar and what they have to do before coming over with the 14-day compulsory quarantine. So that's really helped quite a bit.
And has that been the key difference, the challenge between this year and past years as well? It's not so much the horses, but it's the logistics of getting the people here and the staff on the ground.
Yeah, that's been the thing. And like for this year, there are no international owners coming, for example. And I mean, that's a big sacrifice for a lot of the owners of these great horses. They want to be here on the big day to hoist that trophy if they win. They can't be with us. But in many cases, the trainers are not coming. They're probably the only 2, maybe 3 trainers from overseas that make the trip. So it's a big sacrifice on their part, but with international movement of horses, it's really come so far over the last, say, 20 years that, you know, capable staff can handle it. And I think, obviously, if not for the pandemic, it would be a bigger day. But we can't be too greedy when we look at it in the big picture. We're very happy with what we have. And when you look at each race on the 4 Group 1s, there's star power through and through.
There certainly is, yeah. We'll talk more about those international raiders in due course. First, though, let's cast our minds back to the action at Sha Tin on the weekend with those big trials coming into HKIR. It was Jockey Club Day. Here with the review is Ed Sadler.
It was an action-packed day of racing at Sha Tin on Sunday as some of the best in the business took to the track for one final time before the Longines Hong Kong International Races in December. The big racing action started off in the Jockey Club Mile, where Golden 60 confirmed his superstar status in bringing up his 10th straight win.
Golden 60, he swept away at the 100-metre mark from Southern Legend and Car Ying Star. Bring on the internationals. He's ready. He's Golden 60.
Yeah, it felt really good today. Sprint home really well. You know, the main goal is same as normal, to relax him and hit the launch run, and he will always produce a last really good quarter, you know. So I'm happy with him, with how he raced. He's getting quieter, and you know he knows what's going on, so yeah, it's good.
Trainer Francis Loy confirmed after the race that his superstar will now head to the Hong Kong Mile as his December target. Consistent sprinter Hot King Prawn also boosted his December credentials in landing the Jockey Club Sprint for the 2nd time in his career, as he now eyes off an elusive Group 1 triumph.
It couldn't have gone any better. I mean, he has proven once again he's got so much class, and he won the race with quite a bit of authority, and I couldn't be any happier the way how he's going into December's race that it's no doubt the race that we want to win with.
The big race wins didn't end there for Moreira. He then went on to continue his perfect record on Tony Cruz's Furore, guiding him to victory in the Jockey Club Cup, ahead of his more fancied stablemate, Exultant.
It is Furore though, with 120 to go. Exultant can't go with him. It is Furore. He has Exultant's measure again. He has the Jockey Club Cup Furore.
Yeah, very simple. You know, I got Joe Moreau to ride. It makes things a lot easier. You know, he had some health issues to the horse. You know, so once you sort that out, it's a different horse altogether.
Furore and Exultant will now go their separate ways, with Furore now heading towards the Hong Kong Cup, while Exultant will aim to reclaim his crown in the Hong Kong Vase. Sunday's meeting also unearthed another potential star of the Hong Kong racing scene, as Winning Dreamer continued his unblemished record when he prevailed in the final event.
It's Winning Dreamer. He's staring an unbeaten 5 in the face, and he has it. Winning Dreamer, serious galloper.
Trainer Frankie Law hopes that Winning Dreamer could be his next Mr. Stunning, the super sprinter who gave him his first Group 1 win in the 2018 Hong Kong Sprint.
Or maybe we'll be talking about Winning Dreamer for next international meeting, but we'll go through these one by one and just talk about the local horses to start with, because we'll concentrate on the internationals later. But Golden 60, he looks like the real deal, doesn't he?
Well, only 3 other horses in Hong Kong history have won 10 in a row. It's not easy to do. Beauty Generation, Silent Witness, and Kotak. So he's in pretty big company there. But this will be the big test on the 13th of December when he steps up into Group 1, International Group 1 company, and takes on the international competition that he'll face on the day. But boy, he really is sensational. And that closing sectional that he seems to deliver every single race is really eye-catching. The size of the field in the mile will be a little bit bigger than what he faced the other day, but as long as he gets a clean run, uninterrupted run, he's going to be the one to beat.
Absolutely. Beauty Generation will be back to take him on again, and Why Cuckoo's interesting, potentially first up into the mile as well. The sprint, Hot King Prawn puts himself spot on for try and get this elusive Group 1, but there's another grey waiting in the wings, and we can call him a hometown horse now as well in Classic Legend.
Yeah, great acquisition for Hong Kong, and he'll have to come through 5 weeks of quarantine, 3 weeks in Australia, 2 weeks in Hong Kong. So not an easy road or an easy path to the Hong Kong Sprint. And Hot King Prawn, like many of the horses on the big day, you have to take notice of their great consistency over a long period of time. They always show up, and he hasn't won a Group 1, but everybody would classify him as a Group 1 horse. He's proven that. So it's going to be a great matchup of the Greys. And the supporting cast underneath, it was, a lot of horses were pretty close in the Jockey Club Sprint. So you can make a case for quite a few. But Hot King Prawn, I think, is going to be the one to beat. And Classic Legend, if he can recover from all of that quarantine and come back and run his race, he's going to be very tough.
Yeah, it's no easy task for Casper Fowles and his team, but they're having a great season so far. And on the Jockey Club Cup, what are your thoughts there? As Ed was saying in the piece, that Furore now sticks to 2,000 metres for the Cup, and Exultant goes back to try and reclaim his crown in the Vase.
Well, Furore's really come on at the right time. He's peaked, and Tony Cruz and Moreira, have him. You have to give credit to the Cruz team. They have him back at the top of his game. He won the Derby, then he went 12 consecutive races without a win. But in doing so, he still showed that potential, that he was a legitimate horse, and now he's Hong Kong's best chance in the Cup. And Exultant, much like Hot King Prawn and a lot of those good horses, they just always show up. And now he'll stretch out to his preferred distance at 2,400 meters, and he had to give Furore 5 pounds in the Jockey Club Cup, and that probably contributed to the defeat. But he was still a good second, and we'll see what he can do on the big day. Last year he ran into Glory Vaz, who was just sensational. So we'll see what happens this time in a much smaller field.
Absolutely. He does fight like a tiger, Exultant, that is for sure. Those are the Jockey Club races then out of the weekend, and the local challenges. Part 2 of the show, we'll look at the international raiders and also hear from JRA commentator Murray Johnson about the Japanese Challenge.